Welcome to another episode of the Drew's News Podcast and YouTube channel. Today we have the absolute honor and pleasure of having none other than Jordan Ellis on the show. Jordan Ellis is a senior at the University of Florida, and she loves to write, and her dream job is to become an author someday. She also lives her life with cerebral palsy, but she doesn't let it stop her from pursuing her goals and dreams. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Thanks, Drew. I'm excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. So, just to begin, tell us, who is Jordan Ellis?
Oh gosh. Well, I think you did a pretty good job. That was a pretty good introduction. I am a senior here at UF, and I am a media and society telecommunications major. I started in journalism, but then switched over to telecom just to see more sides of communication because I wasn't totally sure what I wanted to do or what I want to be, and I can't really say that for sure yet either. But I think my dream job would just to be an author. And it is pretty funny because my family will tell you that they have told me that since I was a kid, and I told them that I never wanted to be an author for the longest time. And here
My,
we are in my last year of college. That's what I'm trying to be. So yeah, I just love writing. That's kind of my thing, and I love helping other people share their stories. And I've been blogging for I think almost 4 years now. And that's just been a great way to not only share my story, but step alongside other people and help them share theirs. And I live with cerebral palsy, but so I walk with two crutches, and I use a mobility scooter that I probably drive a little too fast. Um,
hey, don't we all? We're all like little kids, and they're all our toys. Especially me. I gotta see how fast it goes.
exactly, but yeah, like you said, I try to not let that stop me from much, and I don't know, that's kind of me.
Awesome. Well, I can tell you all that I have the amazing pleasure of actually living here in the state of art facility, Cypress Hall. You guys heard about Cypress last week from the Disability Resource Center. So it's just very awesome to have Jordan with us today. And later on in the show today, she's going to share her perspective on what Cypress has done for her. The DRC does great work, and we're just thankful to be able to live in this facility. So, let's go on to the next question. Can you describe yourself in 3 words, and what would they be, and why?
I think I'm determined. I think I'm loyal and probably faithful. Determined, I think it just comes with living with CP and just trying to have to be my own advocate and go after my dreams despite what people are telling me or the challenges that I face. I think when I have my people, I'm pretty loyal to them and I'll love them almost to a fault. um, and my faith is a huge part of my life, my faith in God. So I would say faithful is probably the third one that's super important to me. Just that's kind of the root of everything I do. Yeah, so those would probably be my 3 words.
Amazing. So you and I have some similarities there, because faith is a big one for me. I always say that I didn't come this far to only come this far. God doesn't make mistakes, and He doesn't make accidents, and He puts us right where we need to be in the right places at the right times. And I'm truly blessed to know you is to love you, right? And I'm truly blessed to have crossed paths with you. Can you describe what it's like to get the opportunity to live in a completely ADA accessible dorm like Cypress Hall, which is only one of two in the nation? And what does it mean to you? So it's kind of a loaded question.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people Cyprus is so cool from the aspect of before I moved here to Cyprus, I didn't know anyone that had cerebral palsy or just had a physical disability like me. So the community aspect of it is like so cool because I feel like if I had a hard day, like I don't know, maybe I couldn't get into this building or there were a lot of stairs or there was just some part of my day that was like affected by my disability. I can like come home and like find you and be like Drew, and like I can vent to you and like you totally get it. And not to say that like my family didn't get it because they got it, they lived with me, but it's like different when you talk to someone who like experiences it like you do. So I think the camaraderie between all of us on Cypress One is so cool. And I think it's just cool how like I can live in this building and be like fully independent, and I don't think there's many places where I could say that. And it's cool that a university as big as UF like makes that a priority. So yeah, I just feel like super blessed by the community it's given me, but also like the independence that this building provides.
Awesome. And you talk about the camaraderie, and it was very similar for me when I came. Prior to coming to Cypress Hall, I lived on my own in Gainesville for about 3 years in my own apartment, and I didn't have, I had a support system, like you said. Not that people don't support us, but we had someone that got it, that knew what we were going through, that knew our struggles, and I know these are your questions, but I just want to chime in. One of my favorite memories with the camaraderie, and to explain it and go into more depth on it, just how close we are. I always say that everybody on this floor is different. We all have disabilities, and some of us, like you and I, even the same disability. But what I love is it's different for everyone, and each and every one of us brings something different to the table. I think you would agree when I say, you mess with one of us, you mess with all. We are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite memories with the camaraderie in Cypress Hall is the night that we all went to McDonald's at midnight. Picture this for all the viewers and listeners out there. They see us rolling. They hate in 8 wheelchairs, 8 to 10 wheelchairs on the street, driving their chariots at midnight, going to McDonald's. Like I will always and forever. I'll live with. I'll carry that memory. Excuse me. I'll carry that memory with me forever. And that's just one of the many ways that we are so close and so tight. And I don't think, I think you would agree on this as well. I don't think my college experience would have been the same had I not had the opportunity to come to Cyprus. Had I not had the opportunity to meet people that relate to me.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what is your favorite part about living at Cypress Hall?
I think it would be just that, just the friends I've made and like knowing people that have similar like struggles and stories just to be able to like relate to one another and just like all the fun times we've had. I think one of my favorite memories is like when we all had wheelchair races in the hallway that one night. That was I think it was after a fire drill. We all came in and it was just like chaos, but it was so fun. So I think that's probably my favorite part, just like the friends I've made and the community I've found. Because I don't know, it's just a really cool atmosphere to live in. That you know that like everyone on your floor has your back and everyone on the floor can like relate to you. And I think it's just probably cool for other people to witness too, just like how close all of us are. Yeah, so that's probably my favorite part about Cyprus.
Absolutely. What would you say to someone like you, living with a disability that may be nervous about going off to college? They're getting ready for that big step, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this."
Yeah. Well, first, I would say to not listen to the people that you know you well, and don't listen to the people that don't really know what you're capable of. I had a lot of people tell me that UF was too big for a kid on crutches, but my family was telling me that I could do it, and I chose to listen to them because this was my dream. So if you have a school that like is your dream school, like go after it. Don't let anyone stop you. And I would also say, yeah, it is like a huge adjustment to like move away from home for anyone. But then, like, with all the other stuff that we have to figure out, it is a lot at first. So I would just say go into it knowing that like there's gonna be hard days, but like you're going to be stronger for it. And I think a huge part of my college experience has been just learning how to be independent. My parents will tell you that my freshman year was like so hard for all of us because I was calling them like every single day with like every small thing that went wrong. I would be like, "Oh my gosh, dad, my scooter has a flat tire," or like I couldn't get into this building. But now I've grown to the point where like I just kind of like figure these things out and like I'll call them at the end of the day and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this happened." And they're like, "What? You didn't tell us about that." I'm like, "Well, I'm telling you now, but I figured it out." So I would just say like have faith in yourself and just go in with the expectations that it's not going to be perfect and it's probably going to be hard, but I think it is going to college, especially when you have a college that supports you the way UF supports us, is like a huge step for someone with a disability. in independence, and like it's a step in independence for everyone, but I think it's a great step for us, especially in an atmosphere like UF, just because we have like such a huge support system here. And yeah, so I would just say have confidence in yourself. Know that it's probably going to be a little hard at first, but like in my opinion, it's totally worth it. And I think you will grow so much as a person and just in the independence by coming to college.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. What would you say is one of your greatest achievements while attending school here at UF?
Oh man. Um, I don't know. I think I probably am most part proud of my blog. Even though it's not like total, it doesn't totally revolve around school, but it happened in my time period of college. Um, I think just the way I've been able to do it consistently and the stories I've been able to tell on it have been awesome. And I think also just like, yeah, I think my blog's probably my most proudest achievement.
Yeah, I would say that's your baby. And let me tell you all, I am a telecom news major, but I don't claim to be a strong writer. But let me tell you, this young lady on the Zoom here today, Jordan Ellis, she's got it. She can tell you a story, she
True.
can paint you a picture, and I know she's gonna go far. And that segues right into my next question. You know, you have an amazing blog, which you just mentioned, from Three West. What was the inspiration behind that? How did that start?
Yeah, so I actually started it one summer, the summer after my freshman year, because I had an orthopedic surgery, and I just thought, like, because my dad used to do this thing, because I've had a lot of surgeries in my life, and my dad, I would go into surgery, he would send out like this huge chain email to like our whole support system, which I'm so blessed to have the support system that I do, just like asking for prayers and just updating people on how I was doing. And stepping into this one, it was after my freshman year of college. So he was kind of like asking me to do the updates with him. And I had thought about starting a blog for a while, but never really did it. But then I ended up staying in the hospital. I think it was somewhere around a month just to do like rehab while I was there, because it was in a hospital in Delaware. So I wasn't home. And so I'm just like sitting in the hospital room. I was like, I should start my blog. And like, so it kind of started as a way to like update people on my journey with this surgery. But then afterwards, I just kept getting good responses from it. And like, there were two kids who, so it was in a pediatric hospital, but I was 21. So I was like at the very end of like being in pediatric care. And there just happened to be two other kids on my floor, who were also in their 20s and had almost the exact same surgery. And they were staying for rehab too. So we just kind of like formed a bond, and I ended up putting their stories on my blog too. And I think that was when I realized that like I should stick with this and like tell my own story, and also tell other people's stories, like help other people tell their stories. And I think a big part of it for me is just like when I was a little kid, I would have loved to like just see someone else's story with cerebral palsy and like just look up to an older girl and be like, she's struggling with this, like this is how she deals with it. So I think that's like my dream for it, is like someone else younger than me to find it, or my age, I don't know, just someone else who also struggles with some sort of disability or medical challenge, and like just sharing my experience so it can help them see that like I'm not perfect, but like this is how I deal with it. And like I said, my faith is a huge part of my life, so I think it's been another way for me to like share how my faith plays into like how I live with my disability. But yeah, I think that was kind of my inspiration behind it, was just trying to be an example for other people with disabilities, because I think I try to be like pretty positive about it. But I'm also pretty honest on my blog too, so you'll know when I'm having a hard day on my blog, because I think that's huge with my writing, is like I always want it to be honest. And I think that's what I want it to be, just an honest picture of what it's like to live with a disability. So if a younger girl does stumble across it who's also struggling with CP, maybe she can find comfort in that, like Jordan went through something pretty similar and like she's dealing with it this way. So I think, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling, but that was
Oh
kind
no,
of
no, you're good. You have an amazing testimony, and I can't not touch on this because I know this. But you've been telling your story for quite some time. You've been telling your story even before you got to college. I know you did some pretty incredible things that Meredith with West True News in Orlando shared. So talk about that a little bit. What did Jordan do during that time that was so incredible for the folks that don't know? Your incredible story. Can you tell me a little bit?
yeah. You mean like during high school or?
Yep, correct. You're in high school. Take me back.
Yeah.
Rewind.
Well, yeah. I'd say high school was pretty hard. I think I was just in a spot where so for elementary to middle school, I grew up in a really small private school. So my graduating class, my middle school class was 26 kids. And I had been with those most of those same kids since I was in preschool. So I just felt very comfortable in that environment. And all of them just accepted me for me because they grew up with me, so they didn't really see my walker or my cane. I was on a walker and cane on and off at that point. And I think high school was different because I went from a school of like this tiny school, and then my graduating class in high school was like 400. So it was like a huge change. And on top of that, like for the first time in my life, I had people like asking me questions about my disability or my walker. And I think it was I always tell everyone it was the first time I like truly realized my disability. So I think there was a lot going on internally in high school where I was just trying to like figure out how do I deal with this, because this is probably going to become like people are going to ask more as I get older probably. And I was also, before college, I was just, I don't think you would recognize high school Jordan Drew. Like, I was just so, like, I'm still probably on more of the, like, quiet and shy side, but, like, in high school, I was so quiet and shy. Like,
Well, having me as a friend kind of brings you out of your shell.
for sure. But yeah, so I think high school was hard because it was like, it was truly the first time I was like coming to terms that like this is my life with a disability. How am I going to choose to like deal with it? Am I going to be mad about it the whole time, or like am I going to try and like be positive about it? And so I think I tried to make that choice of like, okay, like I'm going to try to be positive about this, like because these are the cards I was dealt, and like God did this for a reason, and there's purpose in it. And so I need to like rejoice in that like this isn't an accident, like the Lord made this my story for a reason, and I should live that out. So I think the high school was like the first time where I was like coming to terms with that. And then my senior year, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but Wes approached me to do a story about me walking on crutches across the stage, because my sophomore year of high school was when I started on crutches. And it was after another orthopedic surgery I had. So it was a long recovery. And by my senior year was when I was like fully recovered. So it was like a pretty big deal that I was trying to walk across the stage and not fall on my face. um, so yeah, they just approached me about that, and it was I'm kind of the type of person that doesn't love attention. So at first I was like, I don't want to be on the news. Like I still won't even watch the story. I think I showed it to you and Robin, and I like
Yeah,
walked away.
you showed it to me, and Meredith also showed it to me. Because for those who don't know, and you probably will, I was a former intern at Western News. They are also going to be coming on the show if they haven't already. By the time that you all hear this, they're so great, so I can't wait to share that story. But yeah, I've seen it; it was incredible. But yeah, I just wanted you to take me back there. But yeah, more of the story is Jordan did it, and she still continues to persevere. One of your most recent projects here at UF, has been helping Rec Sports launch their adoptive fitness program. How did that come about?
Yeah, so um I like I said, I've had a lot of orthopedic surgeries, and those are long recoveries. And you have to do a lot of PT. And I think so I just grew up always in PT and constantly trying to be like recover from these surgeries. And don't get me wrong, there were years where I did PT like kicking and screaming. Like my parents had to force me to do it. But I think I got to the point in college where I realized like, okay, like I'm on my own here and the ball's in my court. Like I have to decide if my fitness is going to be something that I put at the forefront. And I think as I decided that I was going to put that as something that's important to me, I realized like how much it's helped me in like so many ways, just like getting in the gym. It's helped me like improve on my crutches. I mean everyone's journey with CP is different, but I don't know about you, Drew, but I have a lot of like chronic pain and that's just part of my CP. But like I know that like if I'm not in the gym for like a week, my pain is gonna be worse. But I didn't really take my fitness journey into my own hands until I got to college. And then I realized like how much it's helping me, and I just got like so passionate about getting
Yeah,
people with disabilities in the gym because I always tell my friends that like I think fitness is important for anyone, but I would almost make the argument that it's almost more important for us with disabilities because our bodies are already, I don't want to say behind, but we struggle more than other people with like different things. So
absolutely.
it's important for us to be like one step ahead of our bodies.
Yep,
And fitness is like what I've in my like journey and opinion, fitness is like a way we can do that. And it's a way, and there's, you know, there I can't control like how much chronic pain I wake up with every day, but like I control how I deal with it. And I think fitness is a empowering thing where like we can control that part and we can take that into our own hands. So I just get like super fired up about getting my friends with disabilities in the gym because it's honestly like changed my life and it's become a huge like stress reliever. And so I just approached rec sports and I said, I'm passionate about this. I get into the gym by myself, but it's taken me a long time to get there. I would love for there to be a way for you guys to help me get my friends there. Because I think if I had help in the beginning, like I would have gotten in the gym even quicker. Because it is intimidating for anyone. Like the
absolutely.
gym is intimidating for like someone who's not on crutches or in a wheelchair. And I think you know, our wheelchair or our crutches just adds a whole nother aspect to it. So like it's intimidating no matter who does it. Like I feel like everyone wants a friend to go to the gym with. So I was like, I want to be that friend that helps get my friends in the gym. So I approached them and I was like, what can we do? And I approached them with I was like, I would love for there to be a time where all of us could just like get in the gym together, but I don't know how realistic that is. And they like jumped right on it. And I was like, this is great. So we're still, you know, we're still in the beginning stages of getting it going, but you're my faithful participant right now, Drew.
Yeah, I gotta tell this story. So, for anyone watching or anyone listening right now, let me tell you, last Friday was the first time that we all did the adaptive fitness. It was me and Jordan. It was very cool. Had a great time. But your boy was struggling over here. I was talking about some. I need to lose some weight, y'all. Need to lose some weight. So it's friends like Jordan who's pushing me to get into this. She's like, nah, you gonna do this. So I'll keep y'all updated throughout this podcast if your boy loses a few pounds or it gets a little easier. Cause let me tell you, I was telling our trainer, I'm like, you gotta tone it down a little bit, cause Fat Boy can't keep up. But yeah, it's all about that community, and you're right. It's really nice to have anyone like that, have someone that holds them accountable to go to the gym. But even more so for us, for me, I have a hard time getting in gyms, period, because people are not to be mean or to be ugly, just simply out of curiosity. They look at us, they stare at us, and I'm like not okay with that as far as the fitness aspect. Like, if I'm not in the gym and you ask questions, or I'm not in the gym and you stare at me, cool, but I'm just trying to work out and trying to be like you. And, like, in all that I do, this is what I tell people, and I don't know if you feel the same way. If I'm your inspiration, that is cool, but let me be your inspiration because of the work that I do, because of the person that I am. Not because I'm working out and I have a disability. Working out is what everyone does. We are just trying to live a normal life. So don't use quote unquote inspiration porn. It's fine to wear your inspiration, but let me be your, like journalism. Let me be your inspiration in journalism because I'm a good journalist, not because I'm a journalist in a wheelchair. And do you feel the same?
No, yeah, like I agree. I think it's important for I always tell people like I want people to see me and not just my disability. And if you think I'm good at working out, cool, but don't like give me extra credit just because I'm on crutches because I guarantee you that I would still be trying to work out even if I wasn't on crutches. So I think yeah, it's important for people to see us for us and not just our disability. And I think that's hard because there are a lot of people who will just see our disability, but I think one thing I always say is like I don't like when people stare. I would rather you ask questions. I'm a complete open book about my disability. I'll probably tell you more than you want to know.
Yep,
Uh,
and one of my pet peeves. Sorry to interrupt, but
no,
one of
go.
my pet peeves is I don't know if you've experienced this, but little kids will be intrigued and they'll be like, "Mommy," and they'll shh their kid. I'm like, "No, let your kid ask the question," because they'll be like, "What happened?" And they'll be like, "No, don't say that." No, that my one message for parents of kids out there that may be listening or watching: let those kids ask questions because that's the only way they're gonna know. They're just curious, and it's better to let them ask questions. For me personally, I'm an open book. I don't care. I'll tell you whatever you need to know. Now there may be some that are closed off, but for
Right.
the most part, for me, it's all about education. I always say it's never too early to educate people about people with disabilities. I'm also a motivational speaker, and some of my most favorite events are when I go into those kindergarten classrooms. They are when I go in those pre-K classrooms, because those little ones, you'll be surprised at what questions they ask. And I'm like, wait, how do you know this? Your brain's only this small, and you're like a wealth of knowledge. They're smarter than us at times. So I would
Yeah.
just say, let them ask. Don't, because you're teaching a kid that there's something wrong with disability at that point. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would just say like there's probably going to be some people who don't want to answer your questions. Like we're all different. But I feel like most of the time you're going to come across someone like me or Drew who will happily answer your questions because I our disability, at least I think for you and me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not something that we're ashamed of. It's just part of our story
Right.
and part of who we are. And I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind answering questions. It's not all of who I am, but it's part of it. And so I would rather answer questions than people. But I've also learned that like to just ignore the staring too, because some of it's like innocent. Like no one, most people don't mean harm by it. So it's just like
And they don't even realize they're doing it most
right.
times.
So I used to get like pretty bent out of shape by it, but at this point I'm just like I feel like most people don't even realize they're doing it, and then yeah. So I think a thing we can do to like change the perception about disability is just like teaching people that for the most part, most of the time, it's okay to ask questions. Like I said, there's always going to be someone who probably doesn't want to answer your questions, but the worst that can happen is they just say no, and then you move on. But I think, yeah, but I think it's also important to one thing I've tried to encourage my friends with disabilities. Like, if people stare, just move on, you know? Like, it's easy to get bent out of shape on the little things, but it's like, I bet you they're not even realizing they're doing it, you know? So
Exactly.
you just gotta
And
live your own story.
something I've been saying, I'm like, I had an interview where I had my mom and dad on the podcast earlier this week, and my dad mentioned, it wasn't that big a deal. You're just a little special. And then I chimed back, and I'm like, but aren't we all a little special at the end of the day? Because that's what we are. Because we all got unique needs. Some of us our needs are just more apparent than others, but we all a little special at the end of the day, disability or not.
Yeah.
So the University of Florida, wow, what a great campus!
Go Gators.
Go Gators! It's crazy. We are in our senior year. Like I don't want to leave. Like, woo, we're at the top, number 6 university in the nation. Like, what a moment! What a time! And we've come such a long way in providing access to people of all abilities across campus. But how do you hope they do more, or what would you like to see them do more of on campus within the next 10 to 20 years?
Yeah. I think I would love to just see our beloved Cypress Hall full. I would just love to see even more of us on campus and in this community of Cypress. And also for like from the gym, I would love to see rec sports kind of take this and run with it even after I leave. Um, so I think those would be my two main things is like I would love to see our community of people with disabilities at UF grow even larger and just become even more prevalent on campus. And just for this community on Cypress One to grow and to continue to be what it is, like we were saying, the camaraderie that it is. And I would love to just, I would love, yeah, I would love for the gym to just see even more of us in the gym working out together. You know, I would love to run into Drew at the gym and be like, Drew, let's go lift weights together.
So, in an ideal world, Jordan, no barriers, no obstacles, no nothing. What would your dream job after graduation be?
Well, like I said, I think for years my family has been telling me I should be an author, and for years I told them no. I think partly out of stubbornness, but I think it's always been my dream just to be an author and to be putting books out in there in the world. Hopefully on the New York Times bestseller list if we're dreaming big. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna try to pursue once I graduate. And looking at what that looks like, but that's definitely at this point my dream job, just writing books and just putting stories out there in the world. Probably nonfiction. I don't think I have the patience or creativity for fiction at this point. I won't say never, but
Never say never, right?
yeah, but at this point, I think that's definitely my dream job. Just writing away.
Amazing, amazing, Jordan. You are truly an incredible and inspiring woman. And my last question, just to kind of sum it all up, tying in a bow, um, it's my signature question. It's the question I ask everybody that will, that has, and that will come on the show. What do you hope your legacy will be? That can be your life legacy. That can be your legacy at the University of Florida. But what do you hope people will remember Jordan Ellis by?
Yeah. I think as we talked about, like my faith is a huge part of my life, and I hope that people just remember me as someone who like lived with my disability, but also like saw it as like a way that I could be a vessel for the Lord, and just yeah, that I was faithful through that, and that I am someone who told a lot of good stories in my lifetime, wrote a lot of good stories. Um, yeah, I think mainly I would just want people to remember me as someone who faithfully took on my disability and wasn't bitter about it, but actually like thankful for the ways I've like found the Lord in that. And also just I want to be a good storyteller and tell people good stories and put a lot of writing out there. So hopefully I can do that. Start already trying to, but yeah, and someone who says go Gators all day long. Go Gators.
You're gonna have a future generation of little gators on down the road.
We'll
I, I can see it already. Well, folks, you just heard the amazing story and amazing testimony of none other than my dear friend Jordan Ellis, an incredible storyteller already. Like she said, she wants to be an incredible storyteller, but she already is. To know, like I said, to know her is to love her. You've just listened to another episode of the True D's News podcast. Stay tuned for another episode next week.